So it is incomprehensible to me that we have a major bill dealing with prescription drugs, and yet we're running away from the most important issue, the issue that impacts millions of people, that the American people feel very strongly about, and that is the greed of the pharmaceutical industry, the outrageously high prices that our people are being forced to pay. That is the issue that we must be focusing on. In America today, 1 out of 5 people between the ages of 19 and 64 cannot afford to fill their prescriptions. Hundreds of thousands of seniors are forced to cut their pills in half because the medicine they need is just too expensive. Let me just give you a few examples, just a few. Since 2007, Mylan has raised the price of a package of EpiPens by 461%, while rewarding its CEO with a 671% increase in compensation. Maybe, just maybe, we might want to address that issue. Last year, Turing Pharmaceuticals increased the price of Daraprim by 5,000% overnight. 5,000%, from $13.50 to $750 for just one pill. And while thousands of children in Flint have been poisoned by lead, Valiant increased the price of the leading drug to treat this disease by 2,700% in a single year, from $7,100 to about $27,000. Meanwhile, at a time when 35 million Americans cannot afford the medicine they need, the drug companies are making enormous profits and providing extremely generous compensation packages to their executives. Last year, fellow Americans, while you are paying more and more for prescription drugs you desperately need, the 5 major drug companies made over $50 billion in profit. $50 billion in profit, 5 drug companies, while the top 10 pharmaceutical executives received over $320 million in compensation. In fact, the prescription drug companies literally have money to burn. This year, the pharmaceutical industry spent $131 million to defeat Proposition 61, a ballot initiative in California that would have lowered average drug prices by at least 24% for millions of people. They spent $131 million in California to defeat a proposal that would have lowered drug prices. Madam President, how does it happen that the pharmaceutical companies can charge any price they want for prescription drugs? The answer is clear. The prescription drug industry, along with Wall Street, are the most powerful political forces in America. I have been fighting the greed of the prescription drug industry for decades, and as far as I can tell, the pharmaceutical industry always wins. They never lose. They win, but the American people lose. Since 1998, pharmaceutical industry has spent more than $3 billion in lobbying all over this place, hundreds and hundreds of lobbyists telling members of Congress what the pharmaceutical industry wants. And they have made hundreds of millions of dollars in campaign contributions. They currently have over 1,200 lobbyists on their payrolls here in Washington, including former leaders of the Democratic and Republican parties. That is why the pharmaceutical industry makes huge profits while the American people cannot afford the medicine they need. Now, Madam President, it would be one thing if these outrageous price increases were happening in other major countries. Are these price increases taking place all over the world? The answer is they are not. In 2013, we spent nearly 40% more per person on prescription drugs than Canada, and 5 times as much as in Denmark. Now, how does it happen that in Denmark, in Canada, in the UK, and France, the cost of prescription drugs is significantly lower than it is in the United States? That is an issue that it is high time for us to begin discussing.